Good morning and welcome to Strictly Business. I'm your host, Penny Font. This webcast features conversations with Louisiana's most influential CEOs, entrepreneurs, and community leaders, with the goal of providing insights, ideas, and inspiration to help you and your business grow. Strictly Business is brought to you by the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, Neighbors Federal Credit Union, and Exit Momentum. Without their support, this project would not be possible. Before we begin, here is a brief message from each of our sponsors.
The East Baton Rouge Parish Library believes that a thriving business community is good for us all. That's why we help entrepreneurs start businesses with tools like Gale Business Builder. Keep commerce rolling by providing access to computers, printers, and free Wi-Fi at 14 branch locations. Get a library card. Grow your business at ebrpl.com/business.
At Neighbors Federal Credit Union, we believe stronger schools build stronger communities. And with the generosity of our members and staff, we're making a difference. We've awarded 54 project grants, totaling over $220,000 for on-campus improvements. We've provided 99 scholarships worth nearly $300,000 to help dreams take flight. And through our mascot checking program, we've donated an additional $560,000 in unencumbered funds to local schools. Neighbors Federal Credit Union. We are neighbors helping neighbors.
I'm Cullen Talley, founder of Exit Momentum, a business coaching and strategic planning firm serving growing companies nationwide based here in South Louisiana. Our clients are already successful, but behind the scenes it can feel messy, leaders are too involved in the day-to-day, the team isn't fully aligned, and when honest, execution is inconsistent. We fix that. We build a structure, develop the leaders, and create systems that drive results so you can scale with clarity and momentum. If you're an organization already producing at least several million in revenue and ready to go to the next level with increased profits and team performance, we can help.
Thank you all. We want to keep Strictly Business as interactive as possible. So for those joining us live, here's an icebreaker question for you. Submit your vote in the comments and the results will be posted at the end of the webcast. Today we're joined by Baton Rouge Area Chamber President and CEO Lori Melancon. She's just completed a milestone first year in the role, and now BRAC celebrates its 20th anniversary. That legacy is marked by more than 220 project wins and over $40 billion in investment for the Capital Region. But this conversation isn't just about looking back. We'll talk about an exciting transformation that's planned for BRAC, Baton Rouge's economic outlook, workforce challenges, and the biggest opportunities for our region going into 2026. Lori, welcome.
Hi, great to be with you.
So after having just completed your first year as president and CEO of BRAC, what has surprised you most about stepping into this role?
There's been a lot of things that have surprised me personally, but more about on the community side. I think that I didn't realize how much this community in general around the region operates in silos. How much of our work is done independently of one another, and kind of a lack of trust between different organizations and entities across the region.
So how has your prior career, starting here and then returning to lead, shaped how you approach that challenge and this moment?
Yeah, I was really fortunate to grow up in my economic development career with such a really strong mentor like Stephen Morey. And so for me, I watched him build coalitions and collaborate with others every single day in really milestone ways. I mean, it's how and why BRAC was formed 20 years ago, was because we did not work together as a region at all, that economic development efforts ended in parish lines. And so that was the genesis of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. And time again, we created coalitions and we built teams in order to advance important items for our agenda. And so that really has informed the way I've approached the role so far.
Awesome. So BRAC is also celebrating 20 years. Looking back, what do you see as the standout successes that really define that legacy?
Well, it's been an exciting 20 years for the organization. And I was looking back through the achievements, all the project wins, all the initiatives that we've done. And it's hard to pull things in a moment and in a moment in time that really capture those successes. But the thing that stood out to me, Penny, and I think it is so important for us to remember, is that there was a seed that might have been planted 10 years ago that bore fruit this year. So a great example of that is the Hyundai Steel project in Ascension Parish. We announced that $5 billion project in 2025, but the site and the work to develop that site was developed in 2015. I think about all of the exciting work that we see happening at LSU, the work around digital twins and cybersecurity. The seeds for that were planted with the IBM announcement when we incentivized the development of a stronger computer science curriculum as part of that project. So when you start to look at it in total in 20 years, you see how smart economic development policy and strategy is always planting seeds for the future with every single decision that you make.
That's great insight and good for our viewers to know. Let's go a little bit deeper on the 220 wins and 40 billion in investment. So for business leaders listening, what does this mean in terms of jobs, infrastructure, quality of life, other metrics?
Yeah, so I went back and looked at the numbers just before we got on today. Adjusted for inflation, it's $45 billion of capital investment in the last 20 years. Okay. It's 14,000 new jobs. So that's 14,000 people that either did not have a job or are in a job that is a better job than the one that they had before. If you make the case that we are creating, higher wage jobs than the median average, and those are people who are choosing either a career that better aligns with their skills or an opportunity that is better for themselves or their family. What I think is really exciting is when you look at the total new payroll, adjust with those jobs, just those 14,000 new jobs, it's $1.1 billion of payroll just based on those projects alone, adjusted for inflation. That's incredible contributions to our regional economy, and it's something that we should really be proud of.
Yeah, that's a staggering number. Mm-hmm. This anniversary also comes at a time when BRAC is preparing for a rebrand. So why is now the right time to pursue that change?
This really goes back to 2005 when we became the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. I was part of that team that made that decision. And we kept the name Chamber in our name. The Chamber of Commerce in Baton Rouge has been around for 100 years. We just celebrated our 100-year anniversary, I believe, last year. And we kept the name Chamber because it was important that we didn't lose that sense of business participation and wanting people to still feel connected to the organization. But the work of the organization has always been, in the last 20 years, regional economic development. And when we go to talk to companies outside the market or headquarters of companies that are located here, the fact that there's a chamber of commerce coming to talk to them doesn't always compute. The name doesn't necessarily match with the work we do. So this is really just an alignment, stepping into a new name that aligns better with our mission. So the mission does not change. It's just a modernization of that.
Gotcha. So this new identity will better reflect BRAC's work across the entire capital region?
That's right.
Okay. When you compare Baton Rouge to what we consider to be our peer metros, say Birmingham or Charleston or others that you may want to name, how do you position us?
We've been looking at that too, because we're working on what's the next chapter for us as an organization, which I'm sure you and I will talk about today. But one of the things that I did is they're all under my desk, the strategic plans from multiple other cities from around the country and big transformational strategic plans. And when we think about some of these cities, the Chattanoogas, the Greenvilles, the Raleighs, Austin, a lot of us feel like, oh, these cities they just emerged. Nashville, it just emerged. And when you go back and read these plans, you realize it wasn't 10 years of leaning in and hard work. It wasn't 20, it was 30, 40, 50 years of dedicated, committed planning by people who never gave up and who had an alignment around the direction that they wanted to go. And so when I think about Baton Rouge, one of the things, I'll just say it, we have no swagger about ourselves in Baton Rouge. I mean, maybe when LSU is doing well in football, we have a little bit of a sense of pride then, and hopefully that's all year this year. But, we don't have a sense of swagger about the work that we have been doing. I think where we are, where some of these cities, have hit our radar and we're excited about where they are, even a Grand Rapids or a Columbus, we're in that trajectory. We've been planting seeds for 20, 25 years, maybe a little bit longer, around the quality of life amenities, the infrastructure, the things that we want for the place that we love to live. And so I would say that, yeah, we're not there yet, but we're on our way, and we are doing the work to get us to be where we would like to be as a community. And so relative to those other ones, while we may not have that kind of quality of life that we envy in some of those communities, we are a top 10 metro in the United States for economic growth and prosperity. And so that's something to be proud of and to take into account as well. We're doing something right.
Absolutely. That's a big milestone. So what outcomes will tell you that the rebrand is working, whether that's more awareness, more investment, or as you talk about, stronger perception of our community? What are those metrics?
It's not really about the rebrand for us. I mean, we're excited about, having a website that really markets our region and the companies that are here and the industries that thrive here for economic investment. But really for us, that's not something that we're going to measure or track. For us, really, it's about doing the work. It's about building the relationships region-wide. It's about running the tires, painting the fence, wax on, wax off, doing the work every single day to create jobs and improve the product that we have to sell.
So you talked about the top 10 metro. Let's turn to the economy. So what are the biggest drivers of growth you see shaping the capital region in the coming year or years?
Yeah, so I want to put this into context for you. We've got past 20 years, 14,000 jobs, adjusted for inflation, $45 billion of capital investment. I just looked at our prospect pipeline today. That pipeline is the same number of jobs and $70 billion of capital investment in the project pipeline. However, 90% or more of those projects and that capital investment rely in some form or fashion or incorporate carbon capture and sequestration technology. So when I look forward to the next 12 months, the next 24 months, Louisiana is in this really unique moment of advantage related to carbon capture. Politically, as a community, we have to come together and understand what this represents for us. It is a multi-generational opportunity for us to be able to take advantage of that, to capitalize on it, and to lean into the opportunity that it presents.
That's amazing. So with energy and petrochemicals firmly established, where do you see the biggest opportunities for diversification that can broaden our economic resilience?
I mentioned IBM earlier and that computer science program that really has flourished at LSU since that announcement. I think that a lot of what we have that is available and right there for us to capture around diversification relates to computer science and technology related to the areas where we're already strong in industry and energy in those process industries. So I can see us really developing more strengths around cybersecurity for critical infrastructure, for defense, for energy. I could see us really leaning into the digital twin technology. We're already seeing companies and programs start to emerge both at the community college and the university level, as well as companies in that front in the Baton Rouge area and really getting some attention internationally for their work. So I see the technology space, particularly around energy and complex infrastructure, as something that we have the right to win here in the Baton Rouge area, and it's something that we need to go after.
Lots of opportunity there. So where are you seeing the most outside investor interest right now? And what does that signal about our competitiveness?
For sure, that CCUS space, that's a place where people are very interested. The other thing that I think is exciting about this moment right now is that that data centers and alternative energies, they do present a new opportunity for some of the more rural communities in our region and our state. So those projects are looking for the right site and utility infrastructure, but don't necessarily need the heavy workforce that some of the more traditional projects in manufacturing and energy rely on. And so I think that we're in an interesting time for all parts of our region to be able to see new investment.
So looking 3 to 5 years out, which may actually be too short, beyond that, which industries or geographies will BRAC be targeting most aggressively?
All of the above. So we're going to continue to focus on energy and petrochemicals. We believe that that opportunity is still in front of us. All of the above energy solutions. We also think that the diversification within those industries and the new technologies that are emerging just make a lot of sense to be developed here. We think that a lot of the entrepreneurial activity should happen here. We think that there are incredible opportunities for those industries to partner with our higher education institutions. And then on that technology side, we're going to continue to see a lot of opportunity there, and we're going to be really creative about going after that with some of our partners.
So no matter the sector, it always comes back to talent. What
Mhm.
workforce challenges are most pressing for Capital Region employers right now?
The two sectors that are probably the most acute are going to be the construction industry, which we see with the amount of projects in the pipeline. We're going to continue to see a little bit of constraint there. It's why it's so important that we continue to look at the talent that can go into that workforce pipeline, continuing to identify those skills that our young people are presenting with and getting them into the right fit for them. The other place where we're going to see a little bit of constraint, where we already are, and it's a nationwide challenge, is around in healthcare and nursing. What I'm really excited about, though, is when you take nursing, for example, you've got really great investments happening you've got Southern best nursing program, in the country. You've got RPCC and BRCC doubling down on some of the nursing work that they're doing, opening new facilities, new programs, and even the health district has just gotten a grant to train more registered nurses. So we're addressing those shortages and those challenges, but they're going to continue to be an issue for us.
So BRAC has a major campaign aimed at attracting and retaining young professionals. Talk to us about the elements of that campaign that are underway, what's to come, and how is it performing so far?
Look, Better in Baton Rouge is close to my heart. As someone who has left, moved back, has seen this place be down on itself. It's like I said, it's time for us to have pride in our place. And so that's what Better in Baton Rouge is all about. We've got to get that back for ourselves before we can ever have a hope or a prayer of keeping our kids here and retaining top talent. We have to change the narrative that we're saying about ourselves first. And that'll lead to that talent retention and ultimately more talent attraction. So Better in Baton Rouge was launched in February. Really celebrated it again on 225 Day, February 25th. The work is going well. A lot of great engagement. We're seeing a lot of companies and organizations around the Capital Region participate in the project, picking up the narrative, sharing it with their own communities. We're really excited about the next phase of that. We're updating that website to really give more content and context for the ways that not only is Baton Rouge better today, but the ways that we're making it better, how organizations and entities are leaning in to improve our community. We'll also you'll start to see probably in the spring, we're going to start talking a lot more about the industry here in Baton Rouge. When you ask people, what do we make in Baton Rouge? It's, we got Marucci bats, we got fish fry products. People have those things that are on the tip of their tongues, but you don't realize that there are no Crayola crayons if it isn't for Exxon Mobil right here in Baton Rouge. There isn't hand sanitizer without Exxon Mobil. There's not 70% of the world's soap goes away if Shell Geisinger goes offline. So, what we make right here in the Capital Region is impacting not just our lives every day, but lives of people around the world. There's nothing that you probably touched or ate or are wearing today that did not start in some form or fashion or pass through the Baton Rouge area's industrial complex. It's really remarkable what we contribute to the world. We should be really proud of that. Not only do we produce it today, but we built it. We designed it. We figured out how to make it better, make it smarter, make it safer. And now we're making it even more environmentally friendly. So we need to be more proud of who we are as a community, as a workforce, and what we contribute to the world.
That is such a good point. What are some of the other initiatives that BRAC is leading to keep the Capital Region competitive in terms of attracting and retaining young professionals?
One of the things that I'm most proud of is the high school internship program that we're working on. This summer, more than 700 high school students, primarily public high school students in our region, took part in high school internships. And that number will continue to increase as we go into the fall and spring semesters. It is so important that students see these pathways that are available to them. I heard a story about a high school intern who had never been in an elevator before. These students are being exposed to business environments that some of them have never even imagined or been exposed to in their day-to-day life. And so it is so important for us to continue to engage with these young people, to make connections with them, to show them the opportunities that exist for them right here at home, and how important it is to be able to graduate and pursue that next level of education so that they can have the kind of life that they dream of for themselves.
Well, taking that to the next step, how would you assess the performance of elementary, secondary, and higher education partners in preparing the innovators and the workers for the industries of tomorrow? And if you could share some examples where we're winning and where there's more work to be done.
Look, it's probably one of the most important things that we should be doing from early childhood to lifelong learning, right? And so what I'm excited about right now in East Baton Rouge Parish is on the early childhood front is the new coalition that's emerging to address making sure that every child is ready for kindergarten, goes into kindergarten, ready to learn and capable of learning. We're not there yet today. That is a factor of the high levels of poverty and some of the challenges that some of our families deal with. We need to put our arms around every family in Baton Rouge and make sure that those kids are prepared to learn and succeed in school. I'm really proud of the work that's being done in our public school systems across the region in particular. I'm seeing a lot of innovation happening there. I'm seeing ways of looking at our facilities in new creative uses and adapting them. We're working with multiple businesses across the region to go into high schools. If you've ever been to Walker High School, they're an incredible model for what this can look like. We're looking at how do you implement that system wide, and I've got businesses ready to go. So we're really excited about the partnerships that are emerging around internships and businesses and schools to give kids that work-based learning experience that really is invaluable. Our community colleges are just a jewel and a gem for our region. BRCC continues to lean in and provide access to high quality education in multiple creative ways. And River Parish's community college, Quentin and his team out there are just phenomenal. And the ways that they are partnering with industry, they're setting up brand new programs on the west side of the river. It's really exciting what they're doing. And then Southern and LSU, I mean, we hear about the work that where they are today. I am really excited about the A&M agenda. I am really excited about how we are partnering with one another. I'm super excited about the partnerships that we're seeing with industry. It's not quite ready for us to name them specifically, but we are working with both universities on student experience projects, whether they be capstone projects or projects for classes that are impacting community organizations and civic infrastructure as well as businesses, to give those students real world projects that they can work on and help them develop stronger connections with the Baton Rouge community, hopefully leading to talent retention after they graduate. So at every level, there are shining bright spots. There's a lot of work to be done. There's no doubt about that. But as we continue to strengthen the economy, I think we're going to start to see stronger and stronger outcomes.
Very exciting. I want to shift gears a little bit. We all know how critical infrastructure is to growth. So which projects are most critical for supporting business and economic expansion in the near term? Are there any that you would cite specifically?
We formed the Crisis Coalition. That's one of the collaborations that BRAC was instrumental in. Continue to push for several key projects in the capital region, including widening of I-10, including a new bridge, including something in the north part of the parish, maybe the bump. We continue to focus on that transportation infrastructure. What I would tell you is that the thing about this region is upwards of 50% of people in our region cross parish lines between where they live and work. We are, that if you were on I-10 today, we are an incredibly mobile region. And so it's two things. One, it speaks to the importance of all kinds of infrastructure, stormwater, transportation, utility infrastructure, all of these kinds of things that are going to keep us as a resilient community. But it also speaks to the opportunity that we have to really work together and make sure, people who live in Livingston Parish, a whole bunch of them really care about the future of East Baton Rouge because they work here. Same with East Baton Rouge residents in Ascension Parish or Iberville, West Baton Rouge. We need to realize that we are more interconnected than we would usually admit, and that the infrastructure solutions are an opportunity for us to work together against one another.
Absolutely. So this may be an obvious question, but how do you see the incredible expanding industrial development along the Mississippi River corridor influencing this region's growth overall?
It's going to keep going. Get excited about the west side of the river. It's why this bridge is going to be really important. If you haven't been paying attention or you have a little money to invest, go look, Donaldsonville and the areas around it. We are going to see incredible growth. There are still 2 deep water sites available on the Mississippi River. Of course, there's always going to be a lot of interest in those, and we want to make sure they go to the right projects. When I talked a little bit about the way we thought about IBM, this is also applicable to this question, which is the Hyundai project, that River Park, that megaplex is exciting, right? Because you've got Hyundai there, you've got CF, you've got that development. There's still thousands of acres there that are available, that are unlocked. But the project is enabling rail infrastructure that did not already exist. That rail infrastructure is not just going to serve that site, but if you were to go around the bend into Iberville Parish, the right rail infrastructure, which we really advocated for, is going to unlock even more industrial activity along the Mississippi River there. So we are excited about what this catalyst of this project, not just for the 5 billion jobs and to have Hyundai Steel's presence in our community and all of the jobs that are going to happen at that specific site, but what it's going to also unlock in that entire corridor on the west side of the river.
That's amazing. Speaking of growth, the Arena and Plan Baton Rouge 3 are in their nascent states. How do you see those impacting the economy, the workforce, real estate, development, and so many other business interests in the capital region?
Look, downtown belongs to all of us, all 9 parishes. When we go on those canvas trips and we look at these other communities, those downtowns are a magnet for multiple parishes. I spent a lot of time in Richmond, Virginia. Richmond has probably 6 or 7 counties around it, but that downtown is the downtown for all of them. We have to make sure that, yes, we're going to invest in a world-class downtown, and Plan Baton Rouge 3 has us on the right track for that. And all along that corridor, there's so many great opportunities, from the Arena and some really exciting developments for the Nicholson corridor, going into downtown, up to Memorial Park, out to City Park, the overpass. That's going to create a really exciting energy that is going to be helpful to all of us as we are recruiting students to LSU and Southern, as we're recruiting new professors, as we're recruiting new companies. Having that vibrant, active downtown is going to be attractive to companies, not just that are going to locate right there in downtown Baton Rouge, but it's going to be attractive to companies in Gonzales and in Prairieville and Bruley as well. What we also have to think about, and it's not as often talked about or on everyone's radar, but around the region, there's some really exciting projects. Hemmingbow is under new ownership. Central is exploring a really cool recreational facility. We've got some exciting ecotourism kinds of ideas happening in some of our parishes. There are a lot of really cool things that are under development around the region. And if we can work together to have connected greenways and blueways, if we can work together to say, great, you guys are going to have those travel baseball fields over here, but we're going to put the competitive basketball over here, so that when it all comes together and we tell the story about the capital region, it's all encompassed within our 9 parishes. I think that that's the opportunity that we have, and why I'm really excited that maybe we're not at the finish line like a Greenville or a Chattanooga, and we're not there yet, but we're building it. And so we're going to get to design what that's going to look like for our future, for this moment today. So when people, get a little bit frustrated with Baton Rouge, we're building it, and the time is now. And so I'm excited about those projects. I think that they all offer a ton of possibility and opportunity for us on multiple fronts.
A lot of transformation taking place. So before we wrap up, I want to zoom out for a bit. How prepared is the Capital Region for economic shocks, whether that be energy swings, federal policy shifts, natural disasters, other things?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen that we've been pretty resilient before, and we need to embrace where we can continue to lead. I'm really proud of the work that the Amite River Basin Commission has really done. It's a great example of taking a challenge after those 2016 floods, taking the challenge of not having the dedicated funding to recover from such a big threat to our community, and they've really come together across, I think it's 7 jurisdictions, 7 parishes, to be able to build a strategic plan that's going to help us be resilient through another weather event like that. So those are the examples of when we can come together, when we know where our superpowers are within the region and being able to lean on one another's strengths. I think that that's going to enable us to be pretty resilient. We've been resilient before through other downturns. And I think based on the levels of investment that we're seeing and the way that our companies are having a long-term perspective, I think we'll continue to be so.
Good insight. So before we go, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to pick one single opportunity that Baton Rouge should seize in 2025, 2026 to accelerate long-term growth, what would it be?
It's probably not going to be a surprise, but it's just lean in. This is a really exciting moment. And, I can't, people who don't live it every day probably, aren't thinking about it, waking up in the middle of the night, thinking about it specifically at 2:32 every morning. But I will tell you that now is a really exciting time for our place. And so for all of you who are, saying my kids have left and they're never coming back, or I have friends coming here in October, what am I going to do with them when they're here? Look around. There's a lot of really exciting development happening. There are incredible entertainment opportunities. There is some really thoughtful civic planning work being done. Now's the time to jump in with both feet and be committed again. We can do this as a community, but it's going to take all of us. I think we're going to have to lock arms for several years and be on the same page and be relentless about becoming the community that we believe we deserve. And we're really going to call the community to that. So you're going to see in 2026 and beyond that the regional organizations, ourselves, Baton Rouge Area Foundation, the United Way, Arts Council, tourism, others, we're gonna call for us to do more regional planning, visioning, value development together so that we can be on the same page about what we want for ourselves as a metro area, and to find the ways that we can work together so that we can continue to flourish.
This has been a very inspirational conversation. Thank you, Lori, so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
And thanks also to our viewers for tuning in, as well as our sponsors, Neighbors Federal Credit Union, the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, and Exit Momentum for making this experience possible. Please join us again for the October 15th episode of Strictly Business. Until then, on behalf of our show's director, Tim Coles, and me, enjoy and make your day a great one.